Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secureteam. Well, we have a very interesting development as it relates to the Bermuda Triangle and all of the mysterious disappearances that have occurred in this very peculiar, enigmatic part of the sea. So for those of you who don't know, or maybe don't know enough, well, the Bermuda Triangle, which is also known as the Devil's Triangle, is a loosely defined region in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean, where a number of aircraft and ships and people have disappeared under some very mysterious circumstances, with around 50 plus ships that have gone missing and around 20 planes, adding up to over 1,000 people who have died or disappeared in just the past 100 years. And so as long as this mystery has existed, we have had scientists and researchers and just regular everyday people trying to figure out what it is that is sinking these ships, causing them to vanish without a trace, and in some cases, years later, the ships will be found, but the crew will still be missing and never seen again, no traces left. And as I said, it's not only the ships, but the planes. So there has to be something that doesn't have to do necessarily with the water that is also causing these planes to vanish. And that's what really makes the case of the Bermuda Triangle truly interesting. And so there have been many theories over the years, with a huge chunk of the population believing that there's some sort of bizarre supernatural cause. Others believe that this is some sort of time portal that is swallowing up these ships and planes, sending them to other dimensions, which would account for the fact that they're never seen again, and in many cases, no wreckage is ever found. It's almost as if these things drop off the face of the earth. And so one of the biggest theories, one of the more sane and scientific theories at least, that began catching steam was the idea that methane bubbles rising up from the ocean floor were slamming into the hulls of these ships, causing them to rock back and forth and in turn sink. But of course that didn't explain the many disappearances of airplanes, and it would seem now that even the methane bubble theory has been debunked, after a University College London oceanographer and physicist by the name of Helen Zursky explained to Tech Insider that bubbles could theoretically sink ships like this, as one geophysicist proposed last year, but that's really not the point. In a new video, which I'll link to below on Tech Insider, Zursky says that it all starts with methane building up in the sea floor, and some kind of disturbance can release it into the ocean as one big gust. The giant gust of bubbles will rise to the surface and along the way break up into tinier bubbles. However, the only thing that this phenomenon is capable of really sinking is a really crappy ship, because the vessel would have to be already heavily tilted to one side for the methane bubbles to push the entire thing over and actually sink it. Ships these days, and even the older ships, were built to prevent disturbances on the surface from tipping them over. So first of all, I'm really glad that this physicist has come out and debunked this theory. The Bermuda Triangle has long been one of the most interesting things, at least to me, one of the most interesting cases. You know, if you're really into anything strange, you've gotta love the mystique of this mysterious part of the ocean and everything that encompasses it. And we're still left wondering what has happened to all of these ships and planes and people in an area of sea that covers around 440,000 miles, with at least 4 aircraft and nearly 20 different boats disappearing every year. I mean, these numbers are staggering. And so is there a dimensional side to this? Is there a UFO side to this that we're not seeing? Certainly, we have talked about the staggering and really greatly unacknowledged amount of UFO activity that stems from and over and within our oceans, where ships and strange lights and strange sounds have been seen emanating from the deepest, darkest reaches of the deep sea. And so before we end the video today, we'll talk about some of my favorite and some of the most mysterious disappearances that have occurred somewhere in this mysterious triangle. The first of which occurred in 1945 with so-called Flight 19, which was the title given to 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers that disappeared over the triangle on December 5th, 1945 during a training flight. All 14 men on the flight disappeared without a trace. Later, during the search, a Martin Mariner flying boat also disappeared over the water and was never found. 13 men were on board that. And so Flight 19 is one of the most well-known Bermuda Triangle incidents, and was actually the focus of the science fiction film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which showed men being taken to Mars after an alien abduction. One mysterious case that occurred in 1881 surrounds a ship by the name of the Ellen Austin, and this was a ship that was bound for New York. While on the way, the ship stumbled upon a derelict ship that didn't have any crew on board. In order to tow it back with her, she placed a prize crew on the ship and set sail together. However, a squall separated the path of the two ships following, after which the derelict ship vanished. Upon seeing this, the Ellen Austin reportedly sailed back to London. However, reports suggest that the derelict was once more spotted, but this time had a separate crew than the one that was originally placed there from the Ellen Austin. The disappearance of the ship, her reappearance, and the absence of the original crew is a mystery of the triangle that isn't likely to be unraveled anytime soon. The case of the USS Cyclops is another fascinating mystery, and is said to be the largest human loss ever reported by the US Coast Guard on a non-combat ship. So in March 1918, this massive ship set out to sail through the Bermuda region carrying around 310 crew members. Setting off on a fairly good and beautiful day, the first and only message sent by this ship indicated that there were no sort of troubles, so everything was fine. However, after that, the ship was never heard from ever again. There was a massive search of the area that was put into action, but nothing was ever found. No remains of the ship or that of the 300 plus crew members aboard have ever been found. And this case remains a mystery to this day, considering that none of the other possible reasons for its disappearance seem to completely fit. One of the most mysterious cases, and one of my personal favorites. I mean, it's chilling to think about. Well, actually, I'd say there's probably two favorites of mine, two favorite cases that have to do with the Bermuda Triangle. The first one is that which occurred on December 22nd, 1967, when a cabin cruiser ship named Witchcraft, how about that, left from Miami with her captain. A few minutes into sailing, the captain of the ship had received a call stating that his ship had hit something, but there was no substantial damage, and so the Coast Guard was sent out to help tow the ship back to shore. But when the Coast Guard reached the location in about 20 minutes, they found the area completely deserted, with no signs of the Witchcraft, and no signs that there had ever been a ship there to begin with. What's so enigmatic about this story is that this particular cruiser was virtually unsinkable, not to mention that numerous life-saving devices present aboard, including life jackets, lifeboats, flares, distress signal devices, etc., none of which were ever used before the ship disappeared. And nothing from the ship has ever been found to this day. So the second most mysterious and my personal favorite case of the Bermuda Triangle is that of Flight 441, which disappeared in 1954. So if you haven't heard about this, Flight 441 was a huge military-owned carrier aircraft, which happened to be one of the most successful models of aircraft of all time. On the day that it disappeared, it was flying 42 passengers, all naval officers and their families overseas. It was only around 400 miles from the coast inside the Bermuda Triangle when it simply vanished, becoming one of the largest mysteries of the infamous spot to date. The investigation included the plane, weather, and pilot capabilities, but nothing was found that could point to how the plane went missing. It was further noted that the plane's cargo contained life rafts, which would have floated on water if the plane had broken apart on landing, and would have been easily traceable. Further, the pilot never even sent an SOS call. And so, the mysteries continue. There are many more that you can research up on. And although the methane bubble theory has been debunked, I definitely think that there is something more to the Bermuda Triangle than what we're being led to believe. And so maybe you guys can give me your theories down in the video comments below and tell me what you think. So with that, thank you guys for stopping by today. Be sure to share and like this video on your way out. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned because I've got a lot more coming, and I'll see you all back in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.